Indigenous soul, indigenous soul. Indigenous soul, indigenous soul. Indigenous soul, indigenous soul. Indigenous soul. Indigenous soul, indigenous soul. Indigenous soul, indigenous soul.
Hello, I'm Siwapili Rose Amador LeBeau, and this is Native Voice TV. Welcome to the show. Today I'd like to welcome Corinne Oestreich. Welcome, Corinne.
Thank you.
I've been anxious to have you on. You have so many talents, and I want to talk about all of them today. Well, we'll get as many as we can in. But tell me about your tribal affiliation.
Yeah, I'm Oglala, Lakota, and Blackfoot. And but I grew up here in the Sunnyvale Bay area of California.
Oh, okay. So local girl.
Local girl, yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you dance or?
I jingle dress dance, yeah.
Jingle dress dance. I think we have a photo
Yeah.
of you jingle dress dancing, or at least in your regalia in there. That's beautiful. And you have a microphone in front of you. Are you also emceeing?
No, this was for a Heritage Day at the school that I work at. And so I was able to demonstrate the jingle dress and set up a table and talked a little bit about my heritage and shared that with my school, and the students really seemed to love it.
Oh, how nice. And I think the next photo is with your daughter, is it?
Yeah, that's my daughter, Emma.
Cute. How old is she?
She's 4, and that's her little jingle dress we had made for her because her name's Fire in the Belly.
Oh,
so
cute.
that's a little fire right on her tummy right there.
Oh,
so
yeah. That's beautiful.
So she likes dancing with me.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So you go to all the local powwows and...
I do, but not to dance. I haven't danced in some years because I've been pregnant, and when I'm pregnant I don't dance in the circle. So, but I go there primarily for working for powwows.com.
Right, and you know, we met at a demonstration, I guess it is, or a walk, the Women's March.
Yeah,
about a year ago.
I know. I saw you were holding the Standing Rock, I Stand with Standing Rock sign, and I said, "Who's that?" And I ran up there, and it was you. And I had seen your show before, and so I recognized who you were, and I was starstruck. I was really excited to meet you in person.
Yeah, that was such a pleasure. And then you were telling me that you take photos for powwows.com, and I always follow powwows.com to see what's going on where, and you know. So tell me about doing that, working with powwows.com. Do you write articles and take pictures?
Yeah, I love it. So I've done photography for about 5 years, just professionally. Before that, I always enjoyed it just as a hobby. But I started using that hobby in the powwow circle, and so I started photographing, and then eventually submitted to powwows.com this application and my works, and then started writing articles, interviews with MCs, interviews with dancers, and then also submitting my photography and making sure that they got to the dancers as well, because that was my gift to them, making sure that they had those photos for their families and passing them on.
And they're beautiful photos. I've seen a lot of them on Facebook and then powwows.com. Let's take a look at a few of them.
Sure, sure.
See what you've taken. I know some of the people in the photos.
That's me. That's me. That's in San Francisco for the Native Walk.
Oh, with the Native Walk?
Yeah. So we were marching. I think that was back in a couple months ago. Just a demonstration of asking them to honor treaties and standing with Standing Rock publicly in that city. So that's me.
That's a cool photo. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was probably something with Standing Rock.
Yeah, this is Gathering of Nations, which I got to co-host the live feed for with Paul Gowder, who is the owner of powwows.com.
Oh, okay.
So
How was that experience?
It was
the gathering.
It was a lot of fun. Gathering, it was extremely different from any of the other powwows I've gone to, just because of the sheer size. I told Paul it felt almost like the Super Bowl of powwows because there was so much there and so much going on. But it was really neat to be up there on the stage and to see, all the dancers. And I knew it was in Tingley Coliseum this year instead of the pit. in Albuquerque. So it used to be at the pit, but
Right,
then
that's
it was
where
at
I've been.
Tingley, which is at the fairgrounds, and it was there was a lot more room for the dancers, and it was fun. It was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
good, because it was always so crowded there and hot,
Yeah.
and you could barely walk, had to walk sideways to
Right.
get through.
Yes, I've heard that. And then this year we got through everything pretty much on time, just because no one was cramped. So
Oh,
we got
good.
everybody out there for grand entry, and
That is beautiful,
nobody
isn't
was
it?
elbowing each other. And they were able to dance in their own space. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
That was
live
good.
feed, that's great. I think we have a few more photos there. Let's see, what do we have?
Okay. Yeah, this is a Phillips boy. This is Tom Phillips' son. This was at the Stanford powwow this year.
Oh, okay.
So that was one of my favorites that
That's a
I took.
nice shot.
Yeah, thank you. This is also Stanford.
This is Stanford too?
Yeah, that was this year.
It was pretty dusty out there, wasn't it?
It was. And this was a young boy who is dancing at Gathering. Before
Gathering.
before Grand Entry, they had a couple exhibitions. So
That's beautiful.
thank you. And
That's
that
my-
was
that's my
the-
niece.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh,
And that's
Sacred
it.
Dawn.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this was at the Bates powwow this year in San
Okay, she's such a
Francisco.
little doll.
She was such a cute dancer. I loved watching her.
Yeah.
And there's Marcos Madrill.
There's Marcos. I said,
That's
we're going to put
also
your
Pat.
picture up. And he
Yeah.
goes, make sure it's my good side. I said, there's a feather covering your face. Don't worry about it. That's a good shot of him.
Thank you. This is also Stanford. And that's me.
Oh, where was that taken?
That's Coyote Creek in Fremont. Yeah, we went out there among the tule plants and just, this was photo by a friend of mine, Ryan Wilson. So he took that for me.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
Now, your photography business, that's something that you've been doing for some time now. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
So I do portraits of families, I do engagement pictures, and I started doing that 5 years ago professionally. And I've done some weddings, and it's a lot of fun. It doesn't ever really feel like work. It feels like it's just what I love doing. So as soon as I get home, I edit the pictures right away, because I can almost, like as I'm driving, I get excited to just get home and start working on them. And then I always like to give my clients their photos within either 24 hours or 48 hours, because I know they're as excited as I am to get their pictures.
Now, did you take a lot of them? Like I saw some of them were out in the open.
Right.
And those are nice nature
Yeah,
shots.
I primarily do all outdoor natural light photos.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. But you also do weddings and other events?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's
Thanks.
nice to know that we have a native business doing, taking pictures. And I love your powwow pictures. Those are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, I am interested in knowing about your singing and dancing. You are so talented. So tell me, how long have you been singing and dancing?
15 years.
Yeah?
I've been doing that for 15 years. I did a lot of musical theater and acting in high school, and I was choir. And then when I went to Sonoma State University, and I was a musical theater major with pursuing a minor in opera. So that was a lot of fun. I did a little night music. I was Ann Egerman in that. I've also been in King and I, where I played Tub Tim. And How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying is another one. I was Hetty LaRue in that, which is, she's kind of fun to play because it's very opposite of who I am. So it really, as an actress, it had me kind of branch out. So it was fun.
And you're doing a musical now.
I am, yeah.
Tell us about that one.
It's been a while since I've been in a musical, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to get my feet back in the water. It's with the Sunnyvale Community Players, and the show's Fiddler on the Roof, and I've been cast as ensemble, so I'm very excited to get back into theater, and local community theater is always so much fun to do.
How long is it from the time you start rehearsing and the actual show go,
Right, so we start rehearsal in July, and then we open in September, and then we'll run through the middle of October.
Oh, so it's for a while. Huh?
Yeah, and we do several shows.
Is it like weekend shows?
No, we
or-
do several shows a week, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then 2 on Sunday. So It'll be fun.
That's exciting. Well, I'm sure that's a lot to memorize and.
Yeah, especially it'll be different this time because I'm not a lead role, which is kind of nice since it's been a while since I've been in a show. But when you're doing a lead role, you have all your lines to memorize, and then you have the blocking, which is where you're standing. And luckily this time, it's a little bit low-key for me, you know, just as ensemble, so I don't have to worry.
That means you sing with a group of people?
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. But that sounds exciting, though.
Yeah, I'm very excited to do that.
What is do you have future ambition in acting or music?
Not really. I like doing local community theater, just because this is a small pond
we
that
need
way.
native actors, right? Actresses.
Yeah. I lived in LA for a little while and was asked about doing some of the acting, but it's a lot of work. That kind of on the larger scale, acting in movies, etc. They put in a lot of work for those movies. I don't know if I have that much energy for that. But yeah, local stuff is fun for me.
Yeah. Well, you have small children too, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when they get a little bit older, then
Maybe.
you could coach them, and you all can act.
Yeah. I know my daughter would be up on that stage if I let her right
Oh,
quick.
she's following in your footsteps.
She is. She likes to be the center of attention.
Oh, okay.
in a good way.
She likes that theater.
She
Well,
does,
you know,
yeah.
it's true though. When you watch these movies and you see the actors, you know, we're really not represented there, or you know, they
true.
have somebody playing a native role. So
That's
it is
true.
important to get people in that field.
I've been happy really watching like Longmire's been getting a lot of native actors in that, and that's been really cool to see, and I feel like we're starting to get represented more in films as representing ourselves, but we still have ways to go in that aspect.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of areas. There's always commercials and other
Yeah.
things you could get into as well. But you also teach.
Yeah. So I work at an elementary school as a para-educator in the resource department. So during the week, I work primarily either one-on-one with students who have IEPs or who need extra assistance catching up. We call them RTI kiddos, and they're kids who just need a little extra one-on-one support with their reading or with their math to make sure that they're at grade level. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I get little groups of either one-on-one or in like groups of 3 or 4, just first, second, and third graders. And they are a kick. They say the funniest things, and I always like sharing on my Facebook little moments that they'll say. It's just
Things
'cause
they
it's so
say.
funny. They're just so funny. You know, kids say the darndest things. They really do.
They do, don't they?
Yeah.
Let me ask you about something. You know, you said you went to the Giants game recently, right?
Yeah.
And about 2 years, I went. I didn't go this year, but I went a few years back. And about 2 years ago, there was somebody that showed up at the Giants game, that particular game, with a headdress on.
Oh,
because
dear.
they heard it was Native American night, right?
Oh dear.
Now you experienced this at the Stanford powwow, didn't you?
I did.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So I was on my way to get something to eat, and I saw this woman wearing a headdress, and I told myself, don't say anything, just walk, just ignore it, because she was being interviewed by 2 people with a camera, and I was irked, but I said, okay, I'm standing in line, and I said, if she's still there talking to these people when I'm done getting my food, then I'll say something. And I was walking back, and sure enough, she was still there, and they were talking, and so I walked over, and I went to the camera people, because I didn't want to talk to her, because usually I could tell she was looking for a confrontation by being there and that. So I spoke with the interviewers, and I said, what is it that you're filming? And the woman said, well, see how she won't even talk to me, she comes right to you. It's because she doesn't understand what I'm doing. And so I asked the woman, I said, well, what is it that you're doing? And she says, I'm 100% Cherokee, and so I have a right to wear this headdress. And I said, well, first of all, women don't wear headdresses traditionally unless they're given special permission by elders within the tribe, or if they're or if they have earned it themselves in a specific way that has been approved by their tribe. Second of all, that headdress is not a Cherokee tradition. That's a Plains tribe thing that we do. It's not, this woman was obviously not educated on the traditions of her own culture if she truly was Cherokee. And so I asked this woman, would you like me to educate you on why what you're doing is not okay? And she didn't want to hear it. So at that point, I excused myself from the situation because I knew she brought out her phone, she was recording me because she wanted to get attention. And so I walked away, and then I had a couple other women who joined me later and came back to talk with the interviewers, and they were backing me up. These two aunties are right there, you know, like saying, this is not okay, what she's doing is not okay, and they were just helping me to explain to the interviewers, you can't show this woman because she's gonna make other people think that's okay to do, and it's not. And she's doing it for attention, and if you interview her and use that material, you're giving her attention. So, I mean, you do what you can.
Was it a television station, or?
It was for a documentary.
Oh my.
So, I mean, you do what you can in those situations. You educate, you say your piece, and then if they still won't listen, you just have to walk away. And that's what I've kind of learned, is that people are going to do what they want regardless of what you say. And I can only hope that what I say to this person, you know, strikes a chord, and that she wants to be respectful. Because I know if I had done something disrespectful to a culture or a community, and then that was brought to my attention, I would feel remorse and immediately want to fix.
Sure, apologize and yeah.
To fix what I had done and to apologize. And this woman didn't do that, so I said, all right, well, that's all you can do, really. So,
yeah, I think it was pretty obvious she was doing it for attention, and she knew she was being offensive.
Right.
You know,
and the security eventually came over and asked her to leave, which they said, if you won't remove the headdress, then we're going to need to ask you to leave, and she did leave. So.
And did you also encounter something like that at the Women's March?
Yes.
Well, tell us about that story.
Yeah, it was another woman who was, she was of a Mexican tribal descent, and I encouraged her to research her tribe in Mexico and to embrace the cultures of her tribe. And I said, you're wearing a Plains Indian's headdress, which is actually a costume, because the fur that she had on the sides here was fake. I mean, it was obviously a costume. And I encouraged her to learn about her culture and her tribal practices, and to embrace that and honor that, because that's really honoring her heritage if she does that. She chose to keep the headdress on, and again, it's all you can really do is educate and say something and hope that they make a good choice. But
right. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage, because seems like everywhere we go, we face that. I mean, still with the football teams, or a lot of the teams, let's just put it that way.
Well, and that's one thing I said to the interviewers at Stanford after I had confronted the woman. As I said, you know, she may think that what she was doing was fine because no one said anything. But after I said something, here came the two aunties, right, backing me up and talking to her. And then people in the powwow circle started at that point shouting things and telling her she needed to take it off. And what I'm noticing is, as time is going on in our society, we're standing up for ourselves a lot more in terms of saying, like, that upsets me and that needs to stop. And I think people are taken aback by it. Like, why are people saying something all of a sudden? But the more people who say something, we encourage each other to support each other and to stand up together. So I think that's why it's happening more, and I think that's a good thing.
It is good.
Yeah.
I was at the demonstration at the Niner Stadium when they played the Redskins.
Yeah.
And we demonstrated there. But there were so many people who came by, and they didn't look at, but who knows, they said, I'm Native and I'd have no problem with it, you know, and it's like, okay, you know, but so many people arguing, you know, the issue, and that was a tough one, but you know, we stood our ground. There was a lot of people there, a lot of support.
Right.
And we have to continue doing it.
Right.
You know, so we can educate people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to use the powwows.com platform for that sometimes too. You know, some of my articles are powwows related, and then some of my articles are, you know, current event based, things that are happening, like talking about the march. You know, just because that's a large platform, it reaches a lot of people. I'm trying to get the word out on specific issues that I know are a problem. Like there's an article I'm working on, there's some of our native clothing companies who are designers of their own material are having their artwork stolen by companies in Asia, and these people are profiting off of designs that are originally native artists. You know, and that's not okay.
Going on now.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, things like that, I can use my writing platform with powwows.com to bring attention to these important issues.
Powwows.com has really grown, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been watching it for many years, and at one time it was just a schedule of powwows, but it really has been augmented by the photos and the articles and everything.
Yeah, Paul Gowder works really hard on
Where's he from?
his company. He's from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, and he works really hard. And he has a day job, so that's other than his powwows.com career.
I think we all do.
Yeah, yeah. So he does, you know, both of these things, and powwows.com takes a lot of effort and work on his part. So it's been just a pleasure getting to know him as well, working there. And being able to work with him at Gathering of Nations was fun. Co-hosting that live feed was a lot of fun. I think we get to do it again, hopefully next year. So.
Oh, that's great. Is that the first time you had gone to the gathering?
It is. It's the first time that I've been there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I went a few years. I have family in Albuquerque, so that was convenient.
Okay, yeah.
So guess when I'm going to be visiting you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other current events have you worked on? Probably the water. Standing Rock?
Right, yeah. So I did some on Standing Rock, but a lot of what was being covered at Standing Rock was through powwows, was just resharing information, because there was a lot of media people that were there already. So it was a lot of gathering of what information was out there, making sure it was accurate, and then resubmitting it and sharing it for people to see. So I didn't work on any articles per se that were new about that topic, but yeah. That was a stressful time.
And it still is, because it's still going on.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's not getting any better, and it won't with our whatever he's called.
Current administration.
The current dictator.
45.
Yeah, Mr. 45.
Mr. 45.
I don't think we want to call him Mr. So, what are our future plans for Corinne?
Just to continue photographing at powwows. I think that's a lot of fun. Maybe eventually would like to head out to the Minnesota area, because my niece and nephew are Mille Lacs Band Ojibwe. And so I'd like to go out there and kind of familiarize myself with that part of the United States, and go back to the Dakotas and be around there and photograph there, because it's so different, you know, than from growing up in the powwows that are out in California. And, but you know,
Where's your family from?
traveling is hard.
Where's your Lakota family from?
From Pine Ridge, the
From Pine
Tubbs
Ridge?
family, yeah. So it's hard to get out there. I mean, unless you drive, because planes are so expensive. So.
Yes, and there's not many planes going out there. We were out
No.
there in February.
No,
And it's-
got to go into Bismarck and then drive everywhere. So
Yeah. It's we spent about a week out there.
I saw your photos of that.
Yeah, my husband's family's from out there.
That's fun.
Cheyenne River Sioux.
Yeah, that's fun.
So, but we did go to Pine Ridge visited a friend and
Okay.
made the rounds. You know,
Yeah.
but there really is. It's hard to get out there.
Yeah, it is.
No quick way. So.
No.
And even my Southwest doesn't fly out there, so
I
that made
know.
it pretty hard.
It's true.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It was windy, very windy, and but it was interesting, because we went all the way out to Standing Rock,
Okay.
and it was right after they had closed it. So we did get to at least go out and see where everything was, and you know.
Yeah.
We tried to make it out in time. One of our producers was out there, Steve Macias. They we had a fundraiser and raised a lot of money and sent it out there, so they went out, took that
great.
out. So, yeah, we try and stay involved as much as we can, as you do. And
Yeah.
now, all these different articles you've written so far, how do you decide what you're going to cover? You know, do people make suggestions, or how do you?
Yeah, sometimes there are series that I come up with on my own. I had one that was Native American students achieving greatness, where students who are in high school or in university, if they were doing things for their communities, I would write about what they were achieving. Someone like Joey Montoya.
Yeah.
He just recently graduated from San Jose
Right.
State. So I wrote about him and what he was doing at the time, about 3 years ago. So if somebody had like a student that they wanted covered, or if they were doing great things within their community, or if they said this is what's happening in our local tribe and this is something that needs attention, then they could email me. And my email is corinne.oestreich@gmail.com, and then I would be able to communicate with them further about what's going on, maybe even to get out there and to cover what's happening if it's feasible, and then take some photographs of them and what's happening, and use all of that for the article. And so yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for
Something
new articles,
unique, something
yeah,
different.
something different, something new, something that is happening within our community. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So that's powwows.com in case they don't know how to find it or haven't been on there before, but powwows.com. And they also find out what local powwows are happening.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having
Nice
me.
to have you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Native Voice TV.